I would say the economic crisis taught marketers a valuable lesson. I think the marketing function has changed tremendously.
How do you take a local brand and compete in an unknown market?
Innovation can happen at the speed the consumer wants it to happen.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Change the Conversation, where we talk to entrepreneurs and marketing leaders making waves in Sri Lanka as well as global markets. Today we have a very interesting marketing leader, Shiyan Jayaweera, who is the marketing director at Hemas FMCG. Thanks for joining us, Shiyan.
No problem, Shazri. Thanks for having me.
So, obviously I've been doing some research, following some of your forums and so on. You talk a lot about innovation, and especially after the crisis, how both the company and your team had to pivot with the SKUs and so on. But see, innovation is such a broad word. So I just want to take some time to understand, what does innovation mean to you, and how do you find that intersect between market opportunity and the company's capabilities?
Yeah, sure. So I think if you take the FMCG category, and I'll start with that because that's primarily what where the category that our brands operate in. The FMCG category is all about innovation because you're giving consumers something that is they consider an essential, but by over time it becomes just the norm. It's a habitual purchase because you're talking about toothpaste, soaps, shampoos. So you have to excite them. You have to always bring something new. To them, to keep them engaged with the category. So I think innovation in that sense and new products in that sense are kind of the lifeblood of the FMCG category. So if you take innovation for us at Hemas Consumer, it's probably one of the lead things that we look at. And if you take like how we do it, it starts with the consumer. So it's all about the consumer. It's a consumer-led approach that we take. And we try to understand what is the insight. So whether that's a pain point that the consumer is currently having with the products that they're currently using, or it's an unmet need that they have, that's what we try to solve for. So it's not innovation for innovation's sake. It's not about being gimmicky or, trying to pick something up that's out there in the global context and bring it into Sri Lanka. It starts with the Sri Lankan consumer. And that's how we at Hemas Consumer, how we approach it. So we look at what is that need that the consumer has, or what is that pain point that they have with the current product that they're using, and try to solve for that.
Okay.
And we do that through having a robust process of gathering insights from the market, and we have that as something. So that is always the start point for us, and then the idea generation and the product development and all leads off from that.
So innovation is key for growth, which brings to my next point of loyalty. See, you've been through multiple marketing universities. We've been taught loyalty is key, lifetime value is key, repeat purchase is key. Now, I've come across multiple thoughts which challenge just this, saying that the millennial Gen Zs, they are out to try new stuff. They're not necessarily loyal to a particular brand, but they were looking for value. Don't mind going from whatever they're currently using. You as an expert on the ground, do you see this as well?
So I'll answer that question in this way. So I would say the economic crisis taught marketers a valuable lesson. You have to give value to consumers. So whether they be Gen Z or whether they be slightly the millennials or the slightly older consumers, it became about value because the consumer, for them, what they were spending, they put such a premium on that rupee that they were spending.
Sure.
They expected value to come back, and I think you're absolutely right. What we saw in the categories were that loyalty component actually reduced. So where it was, you were affiliated to a certain brand, or you had a certain affinity to a certain brand, that actually, I wouldn't say went away, but it diminished to a certain extent. So consumers actually started looking for products that were of acceptable value for them because they needed to make that trade-off because of the sort of the expenditure that they were facing and the income pressures that they had. So what marketers had to do was actually, and especially in the FMCG category, they had to start delivering products that actually delivered more value.
Okay.
And to stop consumers from moving out from their brand. And at the same time, what happened was there were a lot of brands that entered into kind of what we would call a discount segment. New brands that came up of maybe not as well known or maybe not as much R&D went into that, and they were able to offer it at a lower price because they mimicked brands that were already in the market. And consumers actually were okay to trade off because they were of that acceptable quality. So what marketers had to do was, okay, to understand that, yes, loyalty of the past is no more, but how do you define that value? And actually what you would see is most of the brands now have carved out a space for themselves by delivering that value and still retaining the consumer. So while it's not about, loyalty, habitual loyalty of your affiliated to a certain brand, as long as you now deliver a value for the consumer, you're able to, retain them with your brand. And that's something that we saw. It's actually something that the economic crisis taught all marketers. But even, as you say, even Gen Z, they also started to say, look, I'm not going to use a brand that I was using, for or my parents used, or, I've been using since my young days. I want to go out there and learn and understand what these brands are offering, and which brands are delivering value to me.
Speaking of the topic of new categories, now I've noticed a lot of investment in personal care for categories that weren't there a few years back. Vivia comes to mind, the night creams and so on. So launching a product is hard as it is. Launching a product into a category which not many consumers might know about, I'm guessing is really tough as well. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think the start point is that consumer insight, what I mentioned previously. And especially with these categories, with the premium categories, it's all about choice. So you need to offer consumers, a wider variety than what they were having previously. That choice is critical because previously, maybe those particular segments were occupied by imported brands, which became, hyper pop, really super expensive for consumers. So they needed a choice. So even if consumers were progressing towards, as you said, we were using night creams, using different type of products, they didn't have that choice because, suddenly the brands that were available and most likely imported were out of reach for them. So that choice element became very important, and especially in those categories, you need to deliver the product. So efficacy became important. So as long as the product is able to deliver the benefit it speaks of, consumers were willing to choose. And again, going back to the previous point on Gen Z, they are looking for information. They are looking to find out, what's out there beyond what they were used to, consuming. So then these products and these segments naturally became an option for them. And when you provide choice in that option and your product is delivering the benefit it says it will deliver, consumers will choose.
Okay. Very interesting. You also, we know that you are a leader in the Sri Lankan market. And I've also read that you export to 15 countries beyond Sri Lanka as well. What's that like? Most of these markets, I'm sure there are a lot of MNCs playing, there are local jewels who lead the market as well. How do you take a local brand and compete in an unknown market?
So I think this is something that all Sri Lankan companies face, not just for Hemas, because obviously we are coming from a point of, obviously our market is much smaller compared to the global context and what's out there. So I think as Sri Lankan brands, we need to kind of figure out what our niche is. So today, do we know, and category to category that can differ. Today we are known for tourism, tea, and cricket, probably. All three we are used to. All three categories, I think probably we are under huge competition right now. But those are the three maybe areas which we are known of as a country, as Sri Lanka. But we need to figure out, okay, what is that niche that we can occupy in the global context? I mean, take Switzerland, right? It's known for quality and precision. So, their watches, the chocolates, they have a positioning, in the minds of the global community. So what is that positioning for Sri Lanka? And as categories or as brands, we need to figure that out. And then sort of make sure that it extends right across from whatever the positioning of the brand to the product development and then the communication of it when we go into that market. So it needs to extend right across.
There's links in Ayurveda. I know it's not past, it's come from India. Do you think there's some links there that we can maybe take to the market?
We can. So that whole the natural space, whether it be Ayurveda or not. So Ayurveda, the natural space, it does have lot of positive connotations, especially in Western markets. So the trend may not have picked up in Asia as much, or especially in South Asia. But definitely in Western markets, in Europe, there is big sort of scope. But again, is Sri Lanka known for naturals. It's even known for it. We have a lot of natural ingredients. Yeah, not the flora and fauna in Sri Lanka, but does those outside Sri Lanka, do they know about it?
Sure.
So that's something that we need to build. And I mean, I'm speaking probably from a FMCG context, but it's applicable across.
Sure.
So that's something that we need to decide what's going to be kind of our USP, and then figure out how we have to take that outside of Sri Lanka if we want to.
And it might be Korea, how they have approached their destination branding.
Yes, absolutely. So that's something that we need to do if we want to compete. And then it doesn't matter if we're competing obviously against global giants in those markets, because we will occupy our niche and it's something we will uniquely own, that can't be copied, or it's something that becomes our identity.
Now moving to a bit about you. So you had multiple marketing leadership roles, currently as the marketing director. Over the years, have you seen your role change, or at least your JD change? I'm asking on the context of especially something like AI, how much is really disrupting things, disrupting the marketing teams that work with you, the agencies that work with you, and so on. Just really asking a lot of questions. Do you see externalities like that changing your role? Any views on that?
Yeah, well, I think the marketing function has changed tremendously. I mean, recently I was talking to someone and we were discussing that at one time, postcard marketing was something like people, marketing teams used to actually send promotional postcards out,
right,
way back when. But marketing has changed over time like that. So it went from, that type of traditional marketing to shopper marketing at one time was a big buzzword. Then it moved to experiential marketing, how to give that experience. And now, digital marketing and AI. So I think marketing has constantly evolved and it will continue to evolve. But marketers have evolved along with it. So from the postcard to email to social media to, marketing has evolved.
Okay.
AI is now just one more step in that. And I think AI, I mean, some do say it's a fad, things like that, but I think AI is here to stay. But it's about figuring out how to use AI. So if you take, say, for example, my GD and how that would change, it's obviously about understanding more how the digital, ecosystem works and how we need to adjust to that. And then by category, it can change. So, for example, AI has multiple users. From how we analyze data right up to how we engage with consumers on the front end. So it's about applying, again, AI not just for the sake of saying, okay, here's a fad, here's a buzzword, let's do it so that, we are the first to do it, but to see what really drives the brand's objectives. So today, it might be about actually using AI to sift through our data better. So that might be something that drives the brand objective, rather than putting, something out up in front of the consumer and saying, look here, you can create an AI avatar for yourself. So if we really look at that and figure out what it is that the brand objective has to deliver and how things like AI and the new digital ecosystem, how they fit into it, that would be the way to, I think, approach it. But marketers will adapt.
So one last question, in terms of what are your big bets for the coming year, both locally and internationally for Hemas?
Yeah, so at Hemas Consumer, we would always go where the consumer is, because we would rely on those insights and understanding what the consumer wants. And what's exciting is with Gen Z, they are looking for that. They have so much more information available to them. They are searching for that information. They have that exposure. So they are looking for what's next. They're looking for what's new. So that's exciting. And as we go forward, that move into new categories, new segments, looking for new benefits, from the products in the categories that we offer will be something that comes up. And, moving towards that and being able to solve it with something that really gives the consumer real benefit is something that we are really looking forward to and are excited to do. Because we have a very strong R&D expertise. We have a history of 75 years in this business, and our R&D expertise actually is all about understanding local insight and actually bringing that global knowledge into this market. So we feel we are in a better position to actually kind of deliver that for the consumers and what they're looking for. So it's going to be like really exciting as we go forward, as new consumers also demand for more choice, and look at more categories and benefit spaces in the categories that we operate.
Okay. Thanks, Shiyan, for sharing your insights, and we wish you well in your growth story as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So that brings to an end another series. We'll join next month with another marketing leader. See you then.